Alrighty, this video is going to be for fabricators, upfitters, maintenance guys, even DIYers, whoever's going to be taking these boxes. This is our SUB85 aluminum box and turning it into a functional workspace, whether that's putting in a bench, putting in toolboxes up on the walls, maybe some cabinets, building anything out of wood, out of aluminum, putting in hooks on the walls, maintenance guys as well, those who are going to be replacing hinges, weather strip, some doors, doing simple repairs, maybe replacing a panel, all of those things. We're gonna go over a quick rundown of what you can do if you're gonna be putting batteries in. You know, your chase is up here. What do you have as far as behind that chase? We're gonna pull that off, show you what that looks like, what size screws, what size bits, and what types of screws are used in this unit, the basic materials. If you would like a video to see what the actual structure of these aluminum units is and behind the walls, I'll link that right up here. I'll also throw it in the description below and possibly at the end of this video so that you can see what you're actually working with for a structure. So, and in that video, you can see the actual raw framing of and where studs are. But let's just jump into it and show you where you can bolt and all those kinds of fun things. Okay, so this unit was built specifically for upfitters, for you guys out there working on these things. It was built with 15, 20 years in mind to make service quick and as harmless and as easy as possible. So these hinges all right here, they're all through bolted, right here. They have a UHMW spacer on the back. If you would like, you can take these out. They may or may not need to be there. That's up to you. But in our view, they do need to be there. This is a stainless steel hinge. We do carry these in stock if you need to replace them. But this is simply through bolted. There's silicone behind here. We recommend a specific silicone to use there. And you can call us for what that is. But this is simple through bolts. And you can see how this bowl strap right here is this is just a limiting strap, and this is what the customer specifically asked for where they're at because they have high winds. So this right here can be moved here if you want more rotation to the door. If you're loading a lot of stuff in here with a forklift and these doors are just simply in the way, you can take that strap and put it over here. This is just what they asked for because it's easier to reach the door from inside. You can just grab it and pull it closed. The weather strip, so everything, the idea behind this was bolted on and off. That way you can change a hinge in 10, 15 minutes, probably 30, depending on what it is, what you run into. Maybe a bolt will get seized. You can cut these bolts off if they're seized up. These are stainless steel bolts. They can, everybody who works with stainless steel bolts knows that they've got more nickel in them. And so they are softer. So you get nuts stacking and messing up. So you can cut these off if need be and just replace the bolt. This right here is a little access panel to the bolts on the bottom. These bolts on the bottom are in fact longer than all of these others. These are 4.5-inch bolts so that they can get through this other tube of aluminum. So you can just zip this off. All of these screws right here on the unit are number 2 Roberts bit screws. So number 2 square bit. Same thing here. This right here looks like a Torx bit. It is not. That is actually a double square, and a number 2 Roberts bit does in fact fit into that, and I will show you. So you can see right here, this here is a number 2 Roberts bit, square bit. You can see the head of that screw, and then this screw right here looks like a Torx. It is not. That is actually a number 2 Roberts bit. Okay, right here on the walls, holding on your exterior or your interior plywood, is a T25. So that is in fact a Torx bit. Okay, so this right here is 3/8 plywood on the walls, just CDX plywood, simple, and that's like that so that you can screw anything needed to it. You can go lighter with that if you need to, but again, I don't recommend it. I mean, you could go lighter, but this is ideal for upfitting. This right here, roof has got a slight crown to it. So when you bolt up your toolboxes or whatever it is, you may end up with a little bit of a gap up here, and you can shim that out, space it out with whatever material you have. The crown in that roof is 1.75 inches to center here, right? So inside this ceiling here is a little over 6.5 feet. So that kind of gives you an idea of what you can bolt in here. But let's go ahead and take this off. These are electrical chases specifically for all the different wires that you're going to end up running in there. Some of you guys are going to actually put bars out on the outside, floodlights on each side. You'll put all kinds of stuff. So there is already at this switch, there is an optional wire here. And then there's just simple wires here for your DOT lights, and then your marker lights. Then you got individual dedicated grounds to each circuit. That's why there's 3 grounds here. And then you have a main power wire, which comes to here, to the back side of these switches, and that runs the interior lights as well as this outside floodlight. Okay, so that's the basic electrical there. So I'll go ahead and pull these off so that you can see how you can bolt things like sky hooks to the top. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. But this is a 10-foot long chase, and we will go ahead and zip that sucker off. All right, so this is a number 2 Roberts bit. Like I was saying, these screws will come out. We'll go ahead and zip all of these off, and then we'll pull this down. All right, now this right here is just a simple chase. It comes down. You can see how the wires are run. We like to keep them relatively secure so they're not in here flopping around, and then they're all on wire loops. If you need to delete that chase so you can get a toolbox all the way tight into this corner, go for it. It's your unit. You can do what you need to with it. That chase is there just to make it easy. And it is a 45-degree angle on that chase, a 4-inch run. This right here is just a more durable chase. This is 063 aluminum, so that you can actually, if something runs into it or beats it, it's not going to break. This top stuff is a little bit thinner. This is 032. So you can see you got dedicated lines. You can go ahead and put your circuit in here and run it along with all of these. I mean, again, it's your unit. But you can see here the insulation in between each one of these studs and this here. On the outside here, if you're going to be putting sky hooks in, you have got a tube. And again, go to that other video that I was talking about if you need to. You have a tube right here on the exterior to bolt through from the outside. Okay, so you just cut out this insulation in this corner. And if you really care heavy about R value, you can spray foam some insulation in there after you've got your bolts in. But any penetrations through the wall, we recommend that you, just like this right here, you put simple silicone behind your UHMW. Now, there are some that, the reason I recommend silicone is not because it's the most superior sealant, it's because it's one of the most serviceable sealants. I recommend, if you really are going to put something on there and it's never going to come off, and define never, we all as fabricators and upfitters know that never means it's going to end up coming off later. So if you want something better than silicone, then I recommend Adfast material. Or sealant. They make that's what the roof and everything is sealed with. That stuff is just about bulletproof, but it is nasty to try to service. So just make sure on any of your bearing plates or anything coming through, you're sealed with silicone to stop moisture coming in. All right, next. So that is the electrical chases. That carries all the way around this perimeter. And again, you can remove them if you need to. This electrical chase looks behind here the same as this one. This one's a deeper chase so that you can mount various switches and things to it, and you have enough depth for wiring, for your wires on the backs of the switches. So you can do whatever you need to there. And again, that comes off the same as that upper chase there comes off. Okay, there is behind this, switching into going ahead and mounting anything to this wall. Behind here is a layer, and again, go to that video that I linked. There is a layer of 1/2-inch foam, and that 1/2-inch foam is to stop or mitigate thermal transfer, right? So it's called a thermal break. These right here, depending on how much heat you're pumping in here and how much humidity you're putting into the unit, the humidity is going to come in from your snow on your boots and all of that, rainwater, everything on your gear and everything. That's where the moisture and the air is coming from inside here. So if you have high humidity inside the unit and it's super cold outside and you're pumping a lot of heat, even if it's dry heat, you may get some icing on all of these studs here, on each one of these screws. Not a big deal. That's normal. You guys are going to know that better than me if you're in a harsh environment. But that foam is there as a thermal break. So any of your fasteners that are going into this, just know that when you go through that, before you get to that aluminum stud, you have got 1/2 inch foam. Not a big deal at all. But when you are sending bolts through, you may want to put Fisher plates and things like that so that you don't create too much of an indent. But again, because it's a solid sheet, it's acting like a SIP, structural insulated panel. Even though it's not that, it will not crush too much on you. Okay, so next, right here, this electrical. You can wire this how you need to. This wire here is going to go to your marker lights on the truck, your tail light wire. So literally the T&M, right? That's what the green wire is for. This one will go to your main battery on the truck, or if you're going to be installing a battery in here. If you're going to be putting diesel heaters in here, sky's the limit, guys. Put them wherever you need to. Follow the specs of whatever the diesel heater manufacturer is. But yeah, easy. Put them wherever you need to. There are certain rules on fuel and everything up above the cab of a truck, I believe. So put them where you need to. Follow proper DOT rules and specs and everything like that. But yeah, this unit, this right here is 1/8 inch aluminum. You can fasten to. Do what you guys need to do in here, okay? This is your unit. Again, this right here is a 3/4 plywood floor sprayed with a pretty durable bed liner. It's like I believe it's a Raptor liner. You can go thicker with it if you need to. If you get nicks in that floor, you can just respray it. Pretty simple. Following the same rule, everything's bolt up, bolt off. So if you guys don't actually like this mounting system, and this may change going into the future, this actual tie down system, this may go to an actual just ratchet, pipe ratchet style to keep it more low profile. But you guys can change this stuff out. You can even take this thing off while you're loading this onto the truck, and you can span a bar between this stud and this stud and bring your forklift in here and pick up, right? And you can have a bar up at the front and a bar back here. And that's how you can load this thing on and off without sky hooks or a crane and straps. And that's actually how we put it in the unit or in the trucks. This right here along the roof, you could also put a platform. This roof is strong enough to be able to come in and lift with a platform on your forklift. But then going to the outside here, this light right here is wired with 10 gauge wire. It's the same 10 gauge wire as here. So if you're going to be putting a much heavier duty light on there, you can definitely do that. You're not limited. You can you have a dead pocket in there as well for wires to run, and you can just do what you need to. Run wires in there if needed, and just come over here to this chase. Okay. Then right here, weather strip, all weather strip. The idea here is that it needs to be able to be replaced easily, no adhesives or anything like that. So you just pull this off when it gets tore up or out, and you just put your new on, and that stuff holds really, really well. Shouldn't come off on you. You do have some at the bottom. You have some here. But yeah, this door was designed to have a nice channel, more than wide enough here. This is 1.25 inches, so that you don't, when you get mud, snow build up, it doesn't bind to the door, and it will always shed water. This is left open for a reason at the corner so that all your water can drain out. Okay. This right here, same thing. We encourage, again, this was all made to be serviceable. So we encourage, if you're going to be putting a plate directly onto aluminum and then fastening with just like self drillers, that you pre-drill and you etch the back of your surface with a 36 grit sanding wheel, clean it with acetone, and then put your silicone there just before you put in your fasteners for the last run. Same thing with this stainless steel spring latch. Okay. So anyway, that's basics for the upfitters. I hope this was helpful for you. We can look at the roof really quick. Okay, this right here is also Adfast sealant. It's extremely strong, durable sealant. When you put this on, if you have to do any kind of servicing on the roof for whatever reason, or you need to patch a hole, this is what I recommend. When you put it on, it needs to be applied with your gun in the proper way. There's a proper way to apply sealant, and then pressed down tight so that you get good pressure onto into that sealant so that it holds tight. And then it won't scrape up on you if you have a shovel clearing snow, or if you run through trees or something. It's not just going to pick up easily. But yeah, there you go. That's the basic rundown here. These doors right here again, like everything was designed with bolt up, bolt off. If you need to be putting Fisher plates, something breaks, you can actually screw to this. This is 1/8" material here, solid welded door. Okay, these doors are replaceable. We do keep these in stock if one gets tweaked and broken. If you find that you do need a another limiting strap down at the bottom, no problem, do that. You'll just need to open up this panel here. But hopefully you guys found that helpful. You can skip through, you know, in the future, find the spot in this video where that you need it. If this was not helpful enough and you have more questions, just drop them in the comments below, or you can just shoot us an email, info@cashcamper.com, or talk with whoever your buyer is, whoever sourced these, and have him get in touch with us, and we can answer whatever questions needed. All right, guys. Cheers, and happy upfitting.